Hi everybody. So it is the 8th of July. Um, did not work out today. I'm back on a strength cycle, but it's interesting. It's kind of easy for right now, but it'll be ramping up. And so when it gets harder, I'm sure I'll be complaining a lot more, but for now it's a needed rest after how intense my bodybuilding cycle was. Anyway, so the topic I wanted to talk about today is health and fitness and performance. Uh, Particularly, there's a really good article that came out a little while back, and the title of it is Mortality Rate Higher Among Bodybuilders. That's in the renal and urologynews.com. And this isn't news. This was out a little while ago. I'm pretty sure this is a press release on a study ahead of print or something like that. Not sure exactly, but basically what they did was they took a sample of professional bodybuilders, and they looked at their mortality rates, and they compared that to the mortality rates of standard people, ordinary men and women. And what they found is that bodybuilders actually had a higher mortality rate than do normal people. And this isn't surprising if you know enough about health and fitness to know what's going on there. In the general sense, is bodybuilding unhealthy? No, it's not. It's exercise. Exercise is good for you, but there is a certain point with any kind of performance, any kind of athletic behavior, where you're going past the point at which you're being healthy anymore. It's not healthy to push your body to its limits. It's not healthy to squeeze every little ounce of strength or muscle or speed or whatever it is that you need for your sport out of your body. That's just how it is. And so that could happen because of extreme weight changes. It could happen because of anabolic or other performance enhancing drug usage. Basically you're doing extreme things in the hopes that it's going to help you perform better, because when you're an elite athlete, the smallest, tiniest little percentage points sometimes are the difference between success and failure. So yeah, you're doing everything to get that last 0.5% to squeeze that last little bit of performance out of your body. And we know that diminishing returns exist on performance, which is to say that the better you want to get, the harder and harder you have to work. The effort that you have to put into it increases exponentially. And so what that means is, yeah, there's for everyone, not just elite athletes, but for everybody, there's a point at which exercising harder, you could get better, but it's simply not worth it anymore, based on whatever your goals are, based on whatever you're trying to do, based on what you're trying to get out of your exercise. You could try harder, and yes, you could do better, but the risk in terms of injury, in terms of potential health issues down the line, is just not worth it. And that's in contrast to the way a lot of people think about health and fitness, because they think that fitness means that you're ultra healthy, that you're so healthy that you can do more than people who aren't as healthy. That's not the case. I mean, if it were the case, we'd all be bulletproof and nobody would ever die, because there are plenty of people who continue to exercise late into life. And if all it was a matter of being more fit than the next person to stay alive, then it wouldn't be hard to stay alive. So it's also important to understand that the way most people think about health is they don't, there's not really any specific definition of health. There is, but if you ask someone what does healthy mean, they're going to give you 90 different answers, because it's one of those vague, nebulous topics that everyone sort of knows what everyone else is talking about, but no one really has a specific, there's no specific agreed upon definition. Like if I ask you what a spoon is, you're all going to give me a pretty similar, this is what a spoon is. But if I ask you all what health is, it's not going to be anything alike. And the reason for that is, again, there's so many different markers that are associated with the health. There's so many different things that can contribute to how long you live. And that includes, strength, it includes muscle, it includes cardiovascular ability, it includes flexibility, it includes, cholesterol profiles, it includes, your height, your weight, it includes your gender, it includes so many different things. And so, to say, like, that someone is healthy because they're skinny, or because someone is healthy because they've got more muscle than the next person. There's lots of, again, it's a sum total of a lot of different variables, and a lot of these variables aren't things that we can exactly look at and get like a very good overall picture. We've used stuff like BMI. BMI is it's not good. It can be useful, but it's certainly not a good number for just measuring someone's overall health in general. Body composition is a better number, but then you have to get a good measurement, and that's more expensive, more complicated, takes time, it's harder. When it comes to stuff like cholesterol profiles, that requires you to actually go get a blood test, and that's not going to show up. You can't just look at somebody and know what the results of their blood test are going to be. You can't just know what someone's genetics are. You can't know, how resistant they are to certain diseases or not. There's so many factors that go into how long you live. And so, again, to boil it down to just one or two factors, to just say, oh, it's just this, well, that's bad, because there's so many other things that can impact it. There's skinny people who are unhealthy. There are, overweight people who are pretty healthy, honestly. There's plenty of things, and so often in our society we boil it down to healthiness is athleticism, healthiness is skinniness, and that's just not the case. You can be an athlete at all kinds of different weights, at all kinds of different body types. You can be healthy at a much greater range of body types than people tend to think. And so it's kind of silly, I hope that this is instructive, basically, because it's kind of silly to think, like, people think, oh, well, bodybuilding, and I know that someone's going to read this study and they're going to say, oh, see, bodybuilders are unhealthy, you should do yoga instead, or some silly. That's not the point of the study. The point is that these are professional bodybuilders. The point is that they are the people who are sacrificing their health to get ahead. And that doesn't mean bodybuilding is unhealthy. There are tons and tons of people out there who lift weights in a bodybuilding style, who do that kind of activity, but who don't push themselves to that limit and are much healthier and better off for it. That's the point. The point is that there is a point of, again, there's that point of diminishing returns, and at some point that flatlines, and to push yourself any further than that, you're risking injury, you're risking serious health issues. So, yeah, it's important to understand that, again, they're just not the same. Health and fitness are not the same thing. They are related. They are very closely related. It's very important, but that doesn't mean they're identical. That doesn't mean that, improving one necessarily means improving the other. And that's a huge issue. That's something a lot of people don't realize. In their heads, those two things are the same. So, that's just something to think about tonight. As always, let me know what you want to see next time, and like, comment, share. I'll see you guys later. Good night.